Krishna Caitanya. All right. Notice is out. And let's see if we are live. Yes, we are alive. That's pretty good. Okay, get started in 1 second. Let me let me get my guitar and we'll be ready to roll. Okay, we are ready. All right. Nice to see everybody. Change it a little something here. Okay. And we're ready to go. Krishna Caitanya Paro Ramamritam Bodhini Dira Dira Jana Priya Priya Guru Nivatsaro Pujito Shri Caitanya Kripa Bharo Bhuvi Bhuvo Vaharvahandarako Mane Rupa Sanatano Rakuyako Shri Jiva Gopalako Nana Shastra Vichar Pranayaka Nipano Sadharma Samustapako Lokanamita Karanodri Bhuvanai Mano Jadanya Karo Radha Krishna Patara Vinna Bhajana Nandena Mataliko Manero Bhatsanatano Rakuyako Gopalako Shri Gauranga Gunarnavana Vito Shraddha Samridyan Vito Papotavak Krin Jano Jano Pratam Govinda Ganamrita Ananambo Nivardano Uno Kayavaya Nisharako Mane Rupa Sanatano Rakuyako Diva Gopalako Chakchatunam Sage Shamanalapate Shrenim Sadatu Chapa Bhutvatina Ganeshako Karunaya Vina Kanda Shinto Gopi Baba Samritam Mare Kalolo Magnamago Panerupa Sanatano Rakuyago Chichiva Kopalako Kujako Kila Amsa Asakane Kune Mayura Kune Nana Shat Nana Ratna Nipada Mula Vitapa Chiyota Vrindavane Radha Krishna Nakarna Shamprabhajato Jivarta Domo Duda Mane Rupas Tano Rakuyato Jiva Kopalako Sankhya Purvakana Makana Native Kalavasane Kuto Nijara Viharakani Chito Chachanda Dino Chayo Radha Krishna Gunas Mater Matunima Nandena Samohita Mane Rumba Sanatano Rakuyako Shiva Kopalako Radha Kunda Te Kalene Janaya Hire Jamam Shivate Premo Mada Shad Ashisha Dashaya Krasto Ramato Muda Gayana Rera Rera Navaram Babi Punto Muda Mane Rupas Natano Rakuyuko Shiva Kopalako Hey Radhe Rajadeva Keja Ayate Nanda Shunukuta Shigo Verdhan Kapa Patapatale Kalindi Vanye Kuta Goshantavi Tarvato Rajapure Caitanya Mahabi Mane Rupa Sanatano Rakuyako Jiva Kupalako Mane Rupa Sanatano Rakuyako Jiva Kupalako Mane Rupa Sanatano Rakuyako Jiva Kopalako Haribo 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 Bonachako Haribo Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivacharya also Teta Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Savaya, Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON, Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava, Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Param Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha, Shiva Siddhi Gaur, Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuradam Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premananda. Nama Om Vishnupadaya. Krishna Prastaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namade. Namaste Saraswati Devi. Gauravani Pracharane Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dechatarni. So, Omagana Timidandasha Gadanjana Shalakya Chakshur Meditam Yena Tasmai Shikravena Maha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So good to see everybody. We got a nice turnout tonight. So, of course, last night we spoke about Lord Nityananda, and if you're interested in hearing the talk I gave about Lord Nityananda, you're welcome to go on my YouTube channel, Bir Krishna Goswami YouTube channel, and it's all recorded there if you want to hear what we said about Lord Nityananda. We specifically talked about many of his pastimes. It was quite an unusual class, even for me. But I like talking about the Lilas of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Philosophy, I like too, but Lilas I like even more. So, with that in mind, we're going to continue with our study of the Sri Caitanya Charitamrta. We're on the 24th chapter of the Madhya Lila, and this chapter is about the Atma Rama verse. Atma Rama cha nirkanta rukame kurvanti haitaki bhakti tambata gunahari. Atma Rama cha muniyo nikrandas. Yeah. So this Atma Rama verse, just to give you a little background, since you might have forgotten, this Atma Rama verse was discussed between Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave so many interpretations based upon the meaning of each and every word, and doing permutations to achieve different interpretations of the whole verse. And we're going to hear quite an extensive analysis of this verse done by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the context of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's discussions with Sanatana Goswami and Benares. Now, we have to understand that this Atmarama verse from the Bhagavatam is utilized to prove that personalism is higher than impersonalism, because this verse is used in relationship to many different personalities, but specifically Shukadeva Goswami and also the four Kumaras who gave up impersonalism, or a Brahmavadi realization, and sort of a Shantaras thing, and they took up personalism for a variety of reasons. Shukadeva Goswami, when he heard about the pastimes of the Lord from his father, and also the four Kumaras, when they smelled the lotus flowers and tulsi leaves offered at the lotus feet of the Lord. So in other words, because they were basically already transcendently situated, the fact that they became attracted to Krishna's pastimes illustrates that Krishna's pastimes are transcendental. That's very interesting. So Word Atma, Rama, means to take pleasure in the self. Rama means pleasure. Atma means self, but according to who you are, you identify with different selves. You may think, this is me, this body, that's myself. It ain't yourself. Too bad. And you may think that your soul is self. That is yourself. You may think your position in society is yourself. You may think your gender. You may think so many things. Your intellectual ability. You know, sometimes people have a lot of intellectual ability, and they think that that's themselves or their strength. There's like right now there's the Olympics going on, and people are winning the gold medal or silver medal or bronze medal, you know, first, second, or third place. And they train for so much because they identify with themselves as a long distance runner, as a skier, as a jumper, or whatever, you know, whatever stupid things they do in the Olympics. It's actually pretty stupid, but, you know, there's something for everybody. Some people are just by nature choosers. So those who are Brahmins are not really interested in the Olympics. You may say, well, how come you're interested in the Olympics? I'm not. I just hear about it. Not that I care who wins the Olympics. Okay, so really not important. I just care who wins the spiritual Olympics, who goes back to Godhead. So with that in mind, let us continue with the Caitanya Caritamrta, Madhya Lila, chapter 24, and we're on text 45 today. Let's go. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, let's start. Dasharavinda Nayanasya Padaravinda Kinjalaka Vishra Tulasi Makaranda Dhyayu Antaragata Swavivarena Chakarati Sham Shangshobha Makshara Jusham Apichittatan Vaho. Okay. When the breeze carrying the aroma of tulasi leaves and saffron from the lotus feet to the lotus-eyed personality of God had entered through the nostrils, in the hearts of those sages, the Kumaras, they experienced a change of both body and mind, even though they were attached to the impersonal Brahman of understanding. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3:15:43. For an explanation, see Madhya Lila 17th 1:42. So that's actually very interesting. And it also gives us a hint on how to bring people to Krishna consciousness. What does that mean? Gives people a hint? Well, the way we bring people to Krishna consciousness is by giving them a higher taste. Now, listen to this, Prabhus and Pravis. The four Kumaras, little boys, they were really into philosophy. Wow. So sometimes we think that we can change people's hearts with philosophy. Doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. Right? Philosophy can bring people to Krishna consciousness. You know, just like Krishna says, 4 types of people approach him. People who are looking for wealth, people who are inquisitive, people who are looking for knowledge, and also people who are in distress. So, you know, these things bring people to Krishna consciousness. But Krishna consciousness is basically a change of the heart. Brahmanda Brahmate Konna Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasadi Bhai Bhakti Latapish. One's heart has to be changed through the implantation of the creeper or the seed of the creeper of devotion. This is actually quite important. So look at this example. This is why I'm using this as an example. The four Kumars were philosophers par excellence. In other words, they were the topmost level of philosophers, the four Kumars. They were Jnana Mishra Bhaktas. Okay. Jnana Mishra means they mixed bhakti and mixed desire for knowledge and liberation, all those other nice ecstatic things. I'm speaking sarcastically right now. So, in other words, they were interested in philosophy, but what changed them was a smell. Oh my God. That is so interesting. It's not that they were convinced by somebody berating them. You do this, do that. This is this verse says this verse says that. They were already aware of all those verses because they had read the Vedas, not even read, they had memorized the Vedic literatures. So what impressed them was the association of the Lord. Now, talking about smell because the smell of whatever's offered to the Supreme Personality of God, and of course, the dust from his feet, the saffron from his feet, that's spiritualized. It's a manifestation of Krishna. Just like I remember. Of course, I don't claim to be like the four Kumaras, but I remember the first time I walked into a Hare Krishna temple and someone handed me a pakora. A pakora is, anyway, I'm not going to explain what it is, because you'll all start to salivate if I explain what it is. So they handed me a pakora. It was fried in ghee. It was cauliflower with chickpea flour with some spices. I did explain what it was. And handed it to me, and I remember that it exploded in my mouth, and I just said, wow, and I had eaten so many fried things before, unmentionable fried things before, and I also was a cook. Actually, one of the things I liked to cook before I joined the Krishna Conscious movement was eggplant parmesan. Unfortunately, I can't eat it now due to health restrictions. So anyway, I already knew how to cook, and I cooked all sorts of things, and this taste of Krishna Prasadam changed my heart. And I remember that we would, in the past, we would offer a flower. This is before COVID, of course. We'd offer a flower at the lotus feet of Krishna, and I would just put the flower to my nose and just become so Krishna conscious, just smelling the flower. Wow. Or eating the prasadam. Or seeing the deities. Any of these things, engaging the senses, Savai Manak Krishna Padaravindayo. So the point is that one becomes Krishna conscious, actually Krishna conscious, by association. Just like we hear how one becomes Maya conscious by bad association. Karnam Guna Sangasha Sadasad Janma Jonishu Bhagavad Gita. So one becomes Krishna conscious by association. So what this teaches us, if you want to bring people to Krishna consciousness, somehow or other engage them in associating with Krishna. Their hearts will change automatically, unless they're just determined, DEMONS. Unless they're actually just determined and offenders and all that other interesting stuff, their hearts will change. That's why we distribute prasadam, but actually it has to be prasadam, not vegetarian food. We don't distribute vegetarian food. We distribute prasadam. So that's why we give people prasadam. That's why we have people hear the holy name. Not just hear the holy name chanted by devotees who are following, because the holy name, or the name chanted by people who are not Krishna conscious, is not the Shuddhanam, and will not have the same effect. Prabhupada said that holy name has to be heard from the lips of a pure devotee. That means one has to, So that means one has to be following at least the pure devotee and following strictly. And in this way, one will actually change people's hearts. Just like Prabhupada. What did Prabhupada do to make the first devotees? I mean, of course, he gave class every day, and that's also association. But really, what attracted them in the beginning was he sat down in Tompkins Square Park or other parks in New York, and he chanted the holy names, and they joined him, and he was like the Pied Piper. So this is how we bring people to Krishna consciousness. Just give them association. It's quite easy. And be nice to people. Two things. Be nice. Give people association. What's the difficulty? As Prabhupada would say, what is the problem? What is the difficulty? Okay, so we went over that first. So that was the four Kumars. And now we're going to hear about Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Ramana Kari Lila Shabane. Shukadev's mind was carried away by hearing the pastimes of the Lord. Also, this is very interesting. It doesn't say the philosophy. Of course, he heard the philosophy, which is also purifying. But he said his mind was carried away by the Lila. Lila Shravane. Harila, that means stolen away. Actually, one translation of this word is Harila, which means stolen away, not just carried away. Try to understand that. Mana means, of course, mind. Mana Harila, sorry. I'm saying Harilila, but it's Harila. So his mind was stolen by hearing Lila Shravane. The Lila. Lila means pastimes of the Lord. So it's very important to expose people to the pastimes. And of course, what I explain to everybody many times is when I read Krishna book, I didn't understand a bit of the philosophy the first time, but the Lila of Krishna stealing butter and feeding it to the monkeys attracted my mind, and I couldn't forget it. So I've had a similar experience, because I wasn't like Shukadeva Goswami. I'm not claiming that. I wasn't like the four Kumars. I'm not claiming that. But this is the point. Give people Krishna Upadesh. Isn't that verse? Listen to that verse. Yari Deka Tarikar Krishna Upadesh. Amari Gai Guru Hoy Tore Desh. You should become a guru, not that you have to sit on a big seat, but you become a guru by giving people Krishna Upadesh. You're not going to convince people by berating them. Yes, you can tell people they're not the body. It's nice. They're not the body. You can tell people reincarnation, nice and true. That's wonderful. You can tell people so many philosophical facts, but unless they're engaged, like Prabhupada said, what is the use of your religion unless someone surrenders? That's one becomes a devotee. In other words, there has to be some purification or contributes in some way to the movement. So that's the point, service, contribution, hearing, tasting prasadam, somehow or other engaged in Krishna's service. One of the 9 processes of devotional service. So here's the translation, which I just described. Shukadeva Goswami's mind was carried away. Carried away was actually stolen by hearing the pastimes of the Lord. Because that's what we're attracted to. We're persons. We are attracted to personal interactions of what other people do. The philosophy is to help us focus the mind and increase our faith so we can hear Lila. That's really important. Lila. Just like yesterday we were giving a class about Lord Nityananda. And we were talking about his Lila. Lila means his activities, but not just activities. The word Lila is not directly translated as activities, but it means activities, playful activities. One who does activities or activities that are done voluntarily. Not activities that you're forced to do. like I'm forced to pay bills. That is not my Lila. That is against my will, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm choosing to do it. But Lila means activities that you are enjoying and you're doing voluntarily and you're choosing to do. That's Lila. And so we hear about people heard Lord Nityananda's Lila, and just like last night, we had a wonderful play, and hopefully there'll be a recording of that play so I can put it up about Lord Caitanya and the dacoit, Lord Nityananda, sorry, Lord Nityananda and the dacoits, and it was just like amazing. I was overwhelmed with ecstasy. All right, let's continue. Parinishtopi naragunye utamashloka lilya grihita cheta rajashe ajanam yad aditavan. Shukadev Goswami addressed Pariksha Maharaj, my dear king. Although I was fully situated in the transcendental position, I was nonetheless attracted to the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Therefore, I studied Srimad Bhagavatam for my father. Wow. So there's that word Lila again. It's Uttama Shloka. That means the Lord who is described in transcendental verses. Lilaya, or the pastime of the Lord who is described in transcendental. And then again, Kurahita, Cheta means the life force of the mind became Kurahita, like controlled, fully taken over by the Lilaya, Lilaya, sorry, not Lilaya, Lilaya. Even though I was Naigurnye, that means transcendental. So that's an amazing verse. Shukadev Goswami addressed Parikshit Maharaj, my dear king. Although I was fully situated in the transcendental position, I was nonetheless attracted to the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Therefore, I studied Srimad Bhagavatam for my father. It's a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 219. And of course, the story of Shukadev Goswami is that because he was so much absorbed in Brahman before, he didn't want to come out from his mother. His mother was pregnant with him. And he was saying, I don't want to be born. So he waited years. Poor mother, she had a long pregnancy. He waited years, but when he heard the Lilia, sorry, then he immediately came out. And then he studied Bhagavatam after that point from his father. Swasuka nivrita chetastad yudashtanya bhavo Pijita ruchira lila krishta sarastariham Vyatanuta kripayaya statvadipam puranam tam Kilavrachina granam vyasa shunum Sunum natosmi. Bhagavatam again. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Shukadev Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva and the destroyer of all sinful reactions, being full in self-realization and bliss. He had no material desire. Still, he was attracted by the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and out of compassion for the people, he described the transcendental historical literature called Srimad Bhagavatam. This is compared to the light of the absolute truth. So again, that word pastime is used. This is really interesting. Let's go back to the word by word. Let's see. Yeah, then Ajita Ruchira Lila. He had a taste for the Ajita means unconquerable. Krishna is conquerable, so unconquerable taste Lila. Most attractive pastimes. Wow. This verse is Srimad Bhagavatam 12:69. Shiyanga Rupe Hari Gopikara Mana. Lord Shri Krishna attracts the minds of all the gopis with his beautiful transcendental bodily features. Wow. I don't need to explain that. What else could I say about that particular verse? Vikshalakar mukam tabakundala shri Gandasaladhara Sunam Asitavalokam Tatavayam Chabujadanda Yugam Vilokya Voksha Shihaika Ramanam Chavavamadasyaha. Dear Krishna, these are the gopis, we have simply surrendered ourselves as your maidservants, for we have seen your beautiful face decorated with tresses of hair. Your earrings falling upon your cheeks, the nectar of your lips, and the beauty of your smile. Indeed, because we have also been embraced by your arms, which give us fearlessness, and seen your chest, which is beautiful and broad, we have surrendered ourselves. Wow. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:29-39 was spoken by the gopis when they arrived near Krishna for the rasa dance on the full moon night. The attracted gopis were awestruck, and they began to speak about how they came to Krishna to enjoy the rasa dance. Rupaguna Shavane Rukminyadhira Akarshana. The queens in Dwarka, headed by Rukmini, are also attracted to Krishna simply by hearing about his transcendental beauty and qualities. So that's also interesting. That story is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that Rukmini, she heard about Krishna before she actually met Krishna. Of course, she's eternally Krishna's wife. I mean, obviously. But she heard about Krishna and she became so attracted to Krishna. She wrote the marriage proposal, not Krishna. What happened is that that Rukmini was supposed to marry this horrible guy, Shishupal. And she wrote a letter to Krishna, even though Krishna was like about 1,000 miles away, perhaps even more. And she wrote a letter, how could you allow me to be taken by these dogs? So come and rescue me. And so Krishna came, and he rescued Rukmini by kidnapping her. And Krishna had to fight off so many soldiers, especially Rukmini's brother. And he almost ended up killing Rukmini's brother, whose name was Rukmi. But instead he sent him back home and shaved him up. It's interesting. That was the way that Kshatriyas dealt with people sometimes, rather than killing them. They would just shave them. Just like Jayadratha was given 5 sikas by the Pandavas when Jayadratha tried to kidnap Draupadi. Interesting. Shrutva gunam bhuvana sundara shinvatam te nirvishakarna vivarar haratung gotapam rupam drisham drishimatam akilartabhlabam Vayachyuta vishati chitam apatra pame. O most beautiful Krishna, I have heard about your transcendental qualities from others, and therefore all my bodily miseries are relieved. If someone sees your transcendental beauty, his eyes have attained everything profitable in life. O infallible one, I have become shameless after hearing of your qualities, and I have become attracted to you. This is Rukmini's statement, actually. This verse, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:52-37, was written by Rukmini Devi in a letter to Krishna inviting him to kidnap her. So she did the marriage proposal, not Krishna. Krishna actually said in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita that he actually didn't want to get married at all. I mean, after being with the gopis, Krishna wasn't interested in marrying anybody. And so he said, I was planning not to be married, planning to be brahmachari. But then I got this letter from Rukmini, and I had to do my duty and kidnap her to save her from this Shishupal. Shukadev Goswami describes this to Maharaj Pariksit when the king asked him how Rukmini had been kidnapped. Rukmini had heard about Krishna's qualities from different people, and after she heard about them, she decided to accept Krishna as her husband. Everything had been arranged for her marriage to Shishupal, therefore she wrote a letter to Krishna, which she sent through a Brahmin, and invited him to kidnap her. That's called a Rakshasa marriage, in which the husband kidnaps the wife, and sometimes the wife kidnaps the husband. Vamshigite Hare Krishna Lakshmani Ramana. Lord Krishna even attracts the mind of the goddess of fortune simply by vibrating his transcendental flute. Kashanubhavosya nadeva vidmahe Devangri renum sparashadikara Yadvanchi ashrir lalan Lalanacharatapo Vihayakaman Suchiram Dritavata. O Lord, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya attained such an opportunity to be touched by the dust of your lotus feet. For this end, the goddess of fortune performed austerities for centuries, giving up all other desires and taking austere vows. Indeed, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya got such an opportunity. This verse was spoken from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:16-36, was spoken by the wives of the Kaliya serpent, who actually got Krishna's footprints on his head. And interesting thing is, I might say, a goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, was performing austerities for thousands of years and she still couldn't get Krishna. And she was so attracted to Krishna. Why couldn't she get Krishna? Because she was attached to a regulated, let's say, opulent way of worshipping Krishna. But when you want to enter Vrindavan, in the Vrindavan pastimes, you have to let your hair down. Not literally, but figuratively, and forget that Krishna is God and just love him and be ready to do anything to satisfy him. Of course, Lakshmi is ready to do anything to satisfy the Lord, but she has this nature of opulent worship, and that opulent worship just doesn't fit in Vrindavan. It's just not part of the scene there. Yogya bhave jagate yatha yuvatiragana. Krishna attracts not only the minds of the gopis and the goddesses of fortune, but the minds of all the young girls in the three worlds as well. Kashranga te kala padamrita venu gita samohitarya charitam na chalet trilokyam trilokya sobhagam idam cha nidiksharupam yad gold jadrumamriga Ulakanya Pibran. My dear Lord Krishna, where's that woman within the three worlds who would not be captivated by the rhythms of the sweet songs coming from your wonderful flute? Who would not fall down from the path of chastity in this way? Your beauty is the most sublime within the three worlds. Upon seeing your beauty, even cows, birds, animals, and trees in the forest become stunned in jubilation. That's the verse from Bhagavatam 10:29-40. Guru tuyastri gananera vatsalye akarshana dasha sakyari bhave purushari gana. The women of Vrindavan who are on the level of superior guardians are attracted to Lord Krishna maternally. Those, of course, the mothers of Krishna. The men of Vrindavan are attracted as servants, friends, and fathers. So we are servants in Vrindavan. Pakshi mriga vrikshalata chaitana preme matakari akarshiye Krishna guna. The qualities of Krishna captivate and attract everything living and non-living. Even birds, animals, and trees are attracted to Krishna's qualities. Wow. So all we have to do is explain the Lila of Krishna, the qualities of Krishna, the name of Krishna. All these things, Nama, Guna, Rupa, the form of Krishna. Hari Shabde Nanartha Tui Mukhyatama Sarva Mangala Hare Premadiya Hare Mana. Although the word Hari has many different meanings, two of them are foremost. One meaning is that the Lord takes away all inauspicious things for his devotee, and the second meaning is that he attracts the mind by ecstatic love for God, or which in this particular case means he steals the mind by ecstatic love for God. Yaiche taiche ohi kohi kariye smarana charivira tapatara kare sangharana. When the devotee somehow or other always remembers the Supreme Personality of Godhead anywhere and everywhere, Lord Hari takes away life's four miserable conditions. Okay, we're going to hear about the four miserable conditions. There's actually many descriptions of the miserable conditions of this world. Another one is the three, Adhyatmic, Adhibodic, Adhidaivic, miseries from the self and body and mind, miseries from other living entities, and miseries from material energy in general. So, but here there's four miserable conditions, which are described in terms of karma, I guess. The four miserable conditions are due to the four kinds of sinful activities. This is called vikarma. Pataka, rupataka, these are the degrees of sin. Maha pataka and ati pataka. Ati means the highest. So this preliminary sin, pataka, two is very great sin, urupataka. Maha pataka means greater sin, and topmost is atipataka. However, Krishna assures the devotee, this is great assurance, aham tvam sarvapapebhyo moksha shami masucha. Bhagavad Gita 1866, I will protect you from all sin-free actions. Do not fear. That doesn't mean that one should do all sorts of sinful things. That means whatever you did before, gone. Whatever your past karma, gone. Don't do anything now bad. Do everything good or transcendental. The word sarvapapebhya indicates the four kinds of sinful activities. As soon as the devotee surrenders unto Krishna's lotus feet, he is certainly relieved from all sinful activities and their results. The four basic sinful activities are summarized as illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. If someone can give up these four things, then they very easily enter into the mode of goodness. Now, there's other requisites that are there, but these are prerequisites for understanding Krishna consciousness. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, first chapter, text 4, it says, Nivritta tarshar ukabiya manas, bhavoshavat shloka, mano biramat, kautama shloka, gunanavadat, puman vidajeta, bana poshugnat. Yeah. So he says that these transcendental verses, Nivritta Tarshar, will actually get rid of all the miseries in this material world. Shloka Gunana about it. Krishna is described in transcendental verses, and everyone will be attracted to them except for those who are Pashuganat. I didn't pronounce that right, it's just Pashugnat. Those who are killers of the animal, or animals, or killers of the soul. So if someone is eating meat, they cannot understand spiritual life. All these different theologians and theosophers, or whatever furs they are, they can't understand or even be attracted unless they actually at least give up all sorts of cruelty towards animals. And what to speak of illicit sex, gambling, and other things, so intoxication. You know, intoxication actually puts you into an illusion within an illusion. I mean, it's bad enough we think we're the body, but when you take intoxication, you get all these wild thoughts and perceptions. Not only thoughts, you get these perceptions that put you into an illusion within an illusion. It's like all right, let me give an example. It's like right now we're in illusion. We think we're the body. Okay, if I play a video game and I take a character, a simulation type of thing in a video game, sometimes it's called avatar, then I'm in illusion within illusion. I think I'm this body, but actually I think I'm the body that this body thinks it is, or has, or is, within the computer. Or not even within the computer, it's just like a bunch of zeros and ones in a binary computer. Pretty stupid. So we're pretty stupid if we're taking intoxication. I mean, I can't think of anything stupider to do. Maybe it must be more stupider things to do. Okay, so we went to text 60 today. Now that I probably offended people by calling them stupid. No one is stupid. They just do stupid things. Everybody's intelligent. It's just that intelligent people act stupidly sometimes. Okay, so with that happy note, we are going to stop sharing and allow you to ask some questions, but first I have to unmute you all so you're allowed to ask questions. You are now allowed, technically, logically, allowed to ask questions or raise your hand. And if you raise your hand, or you can unmute yourself, or you can type in the little text window. So, who has some questions? I'm looking at the text window. I'm looking at the hands or looking
Krishna
at the name.
Gurudev.
Yes, Rishikesh, you have a question.
Yes, Gurudev, my question is, what's the best way to give association to the public, to the others?
Oops, you're breaking up.
I'm sorry. Uh, my question was, what's the best way to give association to other people who are not devotees?
Okay, that's a good question.
Can you hear me?
What's the best way to give association? Yeah, it depends on who
Yeah.
they are. Sometimes it's prashadam. Sometimes it's pastimes. Sometimes it's the holy name. You just have to see. I mean, it's not that everybody was going to sit for a kirtan, not that everybody's going to chant, but most everybody will take some prasadam. So you have to figure which way you can slip Krishna consciousness in. That's all. And as far as
Wonderful.
convincing, I've never really found someone. I mean, I guess sometimes it happens. Someone's convinced because they were argued. Uh, someone argued with them and actually convinced them that the Krishna conscious philosophy was real. I mean, they may have taken that conviction and taken an opportunity to associate. But the reason one actually becomes Krishna conscious is because of the purification. Purification comes from association. Smelling the flowers offered at Krishna's lotus feet, eating the prasadam offered to Krishna, like that, or hearing the holy name, or doing some service. One gets realization. Prachaksha bhagadmam dharmyam shushukam kartamavyam, as the Gita says. Rajavijja rajaguyam pavichami damuttamam prachaksha bhagamam dharmyam shushukam kartamavyam. This Krishna consciousness is the king of all knowledge, the most secret of all secrets, because it gives direct realization. So you get realization by doing something. Or as Prabhupada said, the proof of the pudding is in the tasting. So you gotta. I am sure that almost anyone, if you give them some enough prasadam over a period of time, will become a devotee. Prabhupada even said, in Gurukul, when I used to be a teacher many years ago, that we were feeding the ducks prasadam, and the kids and I were feeding the ducks. And Prabhupada said they become human beings and take up Krishna consciousness. So even if ducks can become Krishna conscious by eating prasadam, I mean, what to speak of human beings? So I think if you give people enough prasadam, they will become devotees, or they attend a Rath Yatra, or appreciate the devotees. I mean, they have to do something that touches the heart, not just the brain. You can touch the brain. I can't touch my brain. But you have to do something that enters into the heart. And of course, the sound vibration is very powerful. Lord Kapila Dev says, Bhavanti Vritkarna Rasayana Kata, Tajoshanadashu Apavargavarmani Shraddha Ratir Bhakti Anukramishati. When one hears about Krishna from great devotees, then that sound vibration goes from the ear to the heart. Bhavanti Vritkarna Rasayana Kata. To Joshadadashu Apavargavarmani Shraddha Ratir Bhakti Anukramishati. Okay. Good questionito. So, who else has a
Thank you, Gurudev.
question?
It was really good.
You have another question? Okay. Anyone else have a question? No one else has a question. Okay, Shama Priya in Sydney. You have a question? You can unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Gurudev, how are you?
Fine, I am fine, just
I'm
fine.
looking forward to seeing you in Sydney soon.
Yes, I will be in Sydney soon.
So my question, because I was preaching, and one particular aspiring devotee, like actually the story is quite good. He just was driving past and saw me in the outfit, devotee outfit, and just came into the temple, started chanting rounds. So my question is, because when we first start chanting, the weeds also grow. So I was trying to deal with that side of it. How do I like advise somebody to check the weeds that grow together with bhakti, because they start advancing, and something like practical? What can I say, or what can I like advise?
What can I say? What can you say? You can just describe what the weeds are. The
Yeah.
weeds of false prestige, the weeds of lust, the weeds of profit, adoration, distinction, all sorts of weeds that grow. So just tell them you have to describe what to be aware of.
Yeah.
When there's danger, you have to describe the danger, the symptoms and the danger.
Does
That's
that
really, there's something dangerous. Like you say, teaching someone how to drive, you say, stop at the red light.
Oh, okay. They gotta be like open to the suggestions also. I mean, the way that, I mean, we can't really say just keep chanting, right? I mean, with chanting, it does improve and purify.
Yes,
Um,
just keep chatting, and I wouldn't worry too much about the weeds in the beginning. Just get them to chant.
yeah. Okay.
It's, in the beginning, you can't overburden their poor little minds with weeds in the
Yes.
beginning. I just get them to chant.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you
Okay,
so much. Okay.
thank you. Next question is Shama Kishore. Okay, Shama Kishore, you have a question.
My humble obeisances at your lotus feet, Gurudev. Uh, my
Haribo.
question is that Haribol, that you are saying that one of the method to bring people into Krishna consciousness is the prasadam. But my concern is that I I offer to the Lordship every day whatever I cook and try to distribute. But as it is said by the devotees, I'm doing, but I'm not convinced myself that Krishna will accept the prasadam by anybody just like that. You must be a pure devotee that so that he can accept. So in that regard, I'm asking is so do you think that anybody? I mean, that I need
If
a
you're following,
clarification that
no, but you're following directions, you're following my directions and you're offering the boga to Krishna and Krishna's accepting. And, so in that way you're following directions and I'm following Prabhupada's directions, so things equal to the same thing or equal to each other. So yes, Krishna's accepting. Just keep giving a lot of prasadam. That's the secret. Be
okay,
kind.
Gurudev.
Be kind and give a lot of prasadam. If you do those both things, you will be successful. That's guaranteed. Okay?
Okay, Gurudev. Thank you.
Arrivo. So, Mr. Govinda, you have a question. So, unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Prabhupada.
Where's the problem? So, what's up?
Maharaj, I was wondering that you quote that verse that 4 types of people comes to Krishna consciousness. But
Yes.
I was meditating last few days that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Prabhupada, it seems like they had a strategy for addressing target audience. Like when he went to
Yes.
Prakashananda Saraswati Thakur, he didn't even deliver first year because he was offensive. And then next year he came and then the arrangement. Even when Prabhupada came to the West, it seems like Prabhupada and the hippie counterculture was like a target-oriented Prabhupada, some or other attracted and he was aware.
Yes.
So should we be not look for just Arti or Tati Jiggasu who is coming, but we should actually voluntarily choose to have a target oriented?
Yes, yes, we have to. It's actually important. You can't just one size doesn't fit everybody. And it's described that Prakashananda Saraswati eventually got leprosy because of his offenses
Yeah.
against Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I mean, that's a heavy thing. So he didn't actually surrender completely. If he had surrendered completely, he wouldn't have gotten leprosy. But there was still something left, or else he wouldn't have gotten leprosy. But Lord Chaitanya, yes, he was very strategic. Prabhupada was strategic, and Prabhupada changed his strategy. When
Mhm.
Prabhupada first came to America, he was trying to approach the intellectual, so-called high-class people on the Upper East Side of New York, uh, and that didn't work. But then Prabhupada changed his strategy to approach those of us who were hippies, and that worked. And then Prabhupada said certain things, stay high forever. Prabhupada never had to say that in India. Nobody would have even known what he was saying if he said stay high forever. Yes, strategically. Okay, and one other question from Mr. Gopal, and then we have to end.
Is to my obeisance to Srila Gurudev.
Yes.
I have a comment. I hope it's not inappropriate. But in reference to your great disciple, Shama Kishori earlier, I just want to
Yes.
mention that I tasted something that she cooked for Krishna recently. And I can't remember ever being more Krishna conscious than after I tasted that and wanting to go back to the spiritual world and continue to taste it. So just wanted to mention that.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. I have
I
to
was,
ask her to cook something. I have to ask her to cook something for me then.
and Gurudev, you've known me a long time. I'm not so easily impressed.
But that's interesting because you used to eat things that I cooked, and you never had that same response.
Well, I didn't tell you. I didn't want to embarrass you, but I have.
But you said you never had. You actually just said you never had such
Well,
a response.
that I can
Never is a
remember.
big word. That
It
you
was
can remember.
it was a very impressive preparation.
All right, so you can tell her that she's probably listening. You can tell her that her cooking's better than her guru's cooking.
I'm not going to go that far, but it was quite divine.
Okay. Anyway, got to end now on that happy note. That's good to know that the disciple surpasses the guru. So on that happy note, we'll see everybody tomorrow, same time, same station.